All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to a new edition of One Man's Trash. I'm Ryan Spilworks, former Major Leaguer. That's CJ Nikowski right there to my left. If you've never watched this show, the premise is we like to go and play show and tell with some former Major Leaguers, broadcasters, people we find interesting. Today has been great. You talk about somebody that's been doing damage on Twitter. Real funny stuff. This guy is a character. Played for the Rockies, had a nice long career. I'm looking forward to this one. This one's a good get for us today, CJ.
It is, because it's personality, right, to go along with a guy that's had a good career, 10 years, as you mentioned, in the big leagues. It's the Phillies, it's the Braves. The Rockies did really well for the Rockies. Not an easy thing to do that first year in Colorado, and finished up with the White Sox. But he's a big personality. I got to know him a little bit through some Atlanta Braves alumni events, and I promise you this, like you said, the Twitter stuff is outstanding, which means that the rest of this is going to be a blast. So let's get him in here. And here he comes from Powder Springs, Georgia, live from Powder Springs, Georgia, Marvin Freeman. What's up, Free?
What's going on, fellas? What's the word? What we doing today?
So the word is actually that I am also wearing a Braves jersey that also has a number 40. I feel a little bit bad knowing that I had your number because you were a much better player than I was, man. So I hope that you're not too ashamed that I have the 40 Braves jersey as well. I don't know why they didn't retire yours. They left it open for me in 2004, but a couple of 40 Braves jerseys here. And, of course, then Spilly, what we always do is we try to dress up, tie it in a little bit with the guys that we're interviewing, and that's why Spilly has got that.
I got
Rockies
the purple
jersey
for you, the purple, because he looks so good in the purple Rockies jersey. And
oh, yeah, Big Barney.
Big Barney, yeah. I mean, like, you know what's funny about you? I've heard so many great stories about the 6'7" Marvin Freeman. He used to talk all kinds of smack to everybody, and your Twitter game is going off. If anybody wants to follow him, it's at Marvin Freeman 84. You're funny. I mean, like, the stuff that you're producing is good stuff. What do you remember about your career before we get into some of the things you might show us?
Pretty much everything. You know how when guys they have that big hit and they're getting interviewed after the game and they go, well, when my career is over with, I'm going to sit back and think about all these things I've done, and then I'll be able to enjoy it. Well, I'm at that point now. I'm sitting back.
Took you a while.
I'm going over everything. I'm digging up all the old clippings, and I got pretty much every game that I pitched in because I had the forward-thinking that at some point my career was going to be over. And I got to prove it to somebody that I played. So, I didn't know which game was going to be my last. So after every game, I asked the video guy, hey, man, make sure I get my video. So I took all those VHS tapes, converted them to my computer. Now I got endless supply of highlights and lowlights that I can go to. And I've just been ripping all my guys that I've been playing against. I think I've dug up every guy that I've ever struck out and posted him. They're always going, why? How come you don't put the ones up where we got hits off of you? I'm going, hey, this is Freeman baseball, buddy. This is Freeman baseball.
They want to see it. They got to go find the video and let them put it on line. But a couple of things that you've done is funny and really kind of you got me. You suckered me into it where you're joking around, and it doesn't sound like it at the beginning, right? Where you're dominating the guy. Say, I'm going fastball here. He can't catch my heat. Strike one, strike two. I think was it Bagwell? And then someone took you deep, and you're like, gosh darn, it was hilarious, man. I was in all the way. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna watch Free strike out Jeff Bagwell right here, and then boom, all of a sudden he's jogging around the bases, man. We love that kind of humility, and I think fans do too, right? I mean, it's easy if you wanted to be arrogant and say, here are all the great things I did. But when you show that human side, make fun of yourself, man, that is a great way to connect with fans. How's the feedback been? You've been hearing from a lot of people when you put those videos up?
Yeah, you know what? The thing is, since I work with a lot of kids that's aspiring baseball players, they want to get into the game. And most of the time, kids don't even know who played last year, let alone 20 years ago. So I like to let them know that, you can have success and you can have failure, but it's at the end of the day, it's still a game when you come off the field. It doesn't mean I'm better than you or you're better than me once we get up across the line. It just means, hey, sometimes you get hit, sometimes you don't. But when I put up stuff like that, I try to take the people that follow me into the mind of a major league pitcher at that time. And that day I had a really good fastball warming up in the pen. And throughout my career, I've been trying to trick Bagwell with sliders and split fingers, and he was hitting those. So I was like, well, hey, I blew a fastball by him on the previous pitch, and I'm going, I got pretty good cheese today, man. Let me see if I can go upstairs on him, and then, back to reality. But these guys aren't Hall of Famers for nothing, man. I mean, you got to show that you're going to get hit. I mean, it's baseball. I don't know anybody that never gave up a hit or never lost a game. And for me to continue to tell guys that mistakes are, bad, that would be wrong on my part. So I show them that I made some mistakes, I had some successes, and they can relate to me a lot better.
So what do you got for us? What do you want to share with us? We always love seeing these random artifacts, history of the game. What do you have that you want to share?
Okay, the first thing I got is, back in the day, there was no internet. I mean, there was no, we got the actual mailgram. This was my,
come on.
This is when I got drafted by the Phillies, and they sent me the old mailgram saying that I was selected in the second round. And I can't believe, my wife saved most of this stuff because we've been together since high school. So I dug in the scrapbook, got some of the most important things out of there that I thought was really, really sentimental to me. The first thing that jumped out was this Western Union mailgram.
That's amazing. So that was 1984. Did you get one in 81?
Yeah, yep.
Because you got drafted by the Expos in 81
I got
too.
that one too from the Expos.
That's incredible.
But that one is funny because the one with that one is, you can see this one is real like pressed and real ironed out. But the one from the Expos, you can tell that I balled it up and threw it in the garbage can. I don't know how it came back to life, but I got it. I pressed it all the way back down again, put it under the old lamination, and that was one of the ones that I wasn't really too happy with because the Expos really tried to get me to sign for a bag of peanuts and a baseball card, but I wasn't going for that. So I saved the one from the actual signing with the Phillies. So that one stands out a little bit to me as well.
That's cool, man. So that was ninth round, right?
Let me ask you about the second round. I mean, you're Jackson State. And as I'm looking through all there's quite a few major leaguers that have come out of Jackson State.
Oh, yeah, man. We had Oil Can Boyd down there, Dennis. We had Dave Clark, pinch hit extraordinaire for several years, Wes Chamberlain. And we had the Farmer brothers that came out of there as well. Kurt Ford, he played for the Cardinals. So at that time, from 80 to about 86, we probably had about 7 guys that made it up to the major leagues out of Jackson State. And that was unbelievable because now I don't even know if they have guys I think they might have had one guy get drafted out of the whole conference the last couple of years. So it just shows that, if you're good enough and you can play the game, it doesn't really matter where you're playing at. Now it's just so much emphasis placed on these power colleges, and a lot of times kids don't think they're going to get an opportunity, but I always tell them, hey man, the scouts will see you if you put it down. It's not what they say about you, it's what you do when you get on the field. So you get an opportunity, you got to cash in on it and take advantage of it, and you can't be intimidated by a guy just because he went to, Vanderbilt when you're on the same field with him. You better prove that you belong out there, and if you don't, you're gonna get stormed over, and that's how it is in the game anyway.
That's amazing, man. So after you got that telegram from Western Union, how long before they called you and started having the conversations about getting signed up?
Probably about 2 days later. Well, actually, when you get drafted, back then when you got drafted in the first 2 rounds, they called you on the same day. So they called me the same day of the draft, but the actual telegram came to kind of make it official maybe 2 days later. So it was great, man. I remembered it to this day. I'm sitting around, I'm pacing in my apartment, and the phone kept ringing, and there was all these agents trying to get me to sign with them. And I'm like, I told she was my girlfriend then, my wife, she was there with me, and I was like, hey, you just answer the phone. If it don't say so-and-so from Major League Baseball, just hang up on them.
No caller ID.
The answer, she was my caller ID. The anticipation and just waiting it out and the nervousness, it really started to get to me. But she's always been a calming, soothing influence to me for the last 36 years.
That's awesome.
Beautiful. All right, what else you got for us? I love it.
Okay. Playing when I did sign with the Phillies, we were in Clearwater, and this ball, you can see this ball here has got Florida State League on it, and Ernie Banks had came to kind of work out with the team, and I stood in line like a green fly for about, 20 minutes just so I could get him to sign his baseball. Because being from Chicago, growing up watching Ernie Banks, wanting to be Ernie, even before I wanted to pitch, Ernie Banks made me want to be a baseball player. Because I remember when he hit his 500th home run, and, Jack Brickhouse was the announcer, and he was just, hey, and I was watching the Cubs, man, and it was like, oh, man, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a baseball player one day. So I got this autographed ball from Ernie Banks. I don't know why I haven't rubbed off the autograph by now, because I've been taking it out and showing it to everybody that I ever come across that wanted to see it. But he personalized it, and he put on it to Marvin, hope. That's what he used to say all the time, hope. And I hoped all the time that I can get to the point where I was going to be a major league player and to sit in the dugout with him in Clearwater. I had a picture. I think I posted a picture on my Instagram where I'm sitting on the bench, and I'm looking at Ernie Banks like this. I'm like the old surprise emoji.
Hey, so was that the first big leaguer you met, from your childhood, or did you meet anybody before that? We think about like the first impression of a name guy that we knew, and then we get to have a professional uniform on, or that first interaction. Did you have any interactions with big leaguers prior to that?
Not prior to that, because when, being my first year, we went to Bend, Oregon. Too many big league players wasn't visiting up there. So getting down to Florida, you could see a lot more guys down there. Ernie was down there. He was the first guy that I actually was in awe of that actually sat on the bench, talked to us. We got a chance to rub elbows. And then I came along with, when I came up with the Braves, I got this picture of the man.
Oh, man. You got Hank.
Hank was walking through the clubhouse, and I grabbed him, man. We didn't have no camera phones back then. I don't know who took this picture, but when I got it, I think I got it blown up somewhere as well. But this is the one that I wish I could carry it around in my wallet. And just when I was, when we took this picture, I was standing beside him, and I was so humbled that I was taking a picture with him. I just bowed down and sat down because I was like, man, I can't be on the same level with this guy. So I got down and kind of humbled myself. And he was one of the guys that when I got to Atlanta, he showed me around the city. He actually tried to rent me his condo. It was a high-rise downtown Atlanta. I had a young daughter, and I was like, man, I can't live down here. I need to be somewhere else, man. So
you got to get out in the suburbs.
I turned that down. Yeah, it was fly too, man. Like penthouse, I was like, nah, dog, I can't take this one. Plus, on that rookie salary, you can't afford. I can't afford to be staying in Hank Aaron's place.
No.
And so that was another kind of really great memory of me having from a childhood hero that I got a chance to kind of meet and talk to and hang out and do things with. Those two guys have always been mentors of mine. And the third guy that I met that I was like, I was pitching in Colorado, and we were playing against the Cubs, and Fergie Jenkins was the pitching coach.
Nice.
Now, growing up watching the Cub games and watching Fergie, I always wanted the spotlight on me, and just being a pitcher, you got the ball in your hand every time. You got a chance to be seen on every play. And to watch Fergie, I really kind of studied him. I saw some of the things that he was doing. And then when he actually was at the game and I had a chance to pitch against, I think Kevin Foster was the pitcher, that's when I hit a home run. I did a video on that too.
Yeah.
It
was hilarious.
I said it was black on black crime is what I called it.
Got him.
Kevin Foster hit a home run off me.
Oh, he did?
I hit one off him later on in the game.
Oh, that's amazing.
As I'm in the box and they shooting from, I guess they were shooting from the right field camera, I'm in the box. You can see Fergie behind me. And I'm at the box and I'm going, yeah, I'm getting ready to get him back. I got my idol Fergie in the background. I'm getting ready to do damage. And then Payal, I hit him out. But
Amazing.
he was one of the guys that I used to, I mean, when the Cubs would be on the field for BP, I'd be the only guy on the Rockies out there standing almost in the Cubs bullpen, trying to get bullpen tips and just advice from Fergie. And even to this day, I start following him on Twitter, and I know he probably thinks I'm a stalker because every time he puts something up, I'll be like, yeah, that was my idol, Fergie. That's my man right there.
What's amazing about that, though, is that the three guys that you just mentioned, I mean, obviously they're all huge names in the game, but they're all like great personalities too. I mean, it's always amazing, like thinking about Hank Aaron, Ernie Banks, and who they were as players. And Fergie was I believe he was the pitching coordinator when I first got to the Reds in the minor leagues. I was blown away that I had a chance to work with him, and I was probably a bumbling idiot trying to get through any sentence. But the idea that they're all good guys, right? You know, there's some studs out there that maybe don't have the best personalities, but those three that you just mentioned are pretty amazing guys to go on top of, which I imagine for you, when you first meet them and they're really kind, it's got to blow you away.
Oh, absolutely, man. I've met some of the latter guys that you talked about as well, and I'm like, bro, what's up, man?
You're not as good as that guy. You're not as good. Hank Aaron should have been the first unanimous Hall of Famer. It still makes me so mad to think that guy. How is he not the first unanimous Hall of Famer into the Hall of Fame? That part just drives me bonkers.
Those writers, man.
Let me ask you, Marvin, when you talk to Fergie Jenkins, because you guys are both big. I mean, Fergie's 6'5", you're 6'7". Like, was there a connection when you started asking about like mechanics? Could he see a little bit of himself in you?
Oh, absolutely, man. The first thing he said to me was that I like how you go about your business. You know, you're serious, but I don't see you on the field bumping elbows with other guys on other teams, because that was one of my pet peeves. When I went out there, those guys were my enemies. I mean, I don't care how tight we were off the field, but when I was on the field, it wasn't no buddy, you know, with the other team. If it was another pitcher from the other team, those are the guys you saw me talking to. But actually just being, you know, hating the opponent when I went on the field, that was just the way that I had to motivate myself. And, you know, sometimes guys say, Free, you talk a lot of stuff, man. You talk a lot of stuff. Well, I'm not doing that to offend you. I'm doing that to uplift me or to motivate me. I mean, coming from Chicago, where we used to have this thing called playing the dozen, where we would just sit around in the neighborhood stoops and just talk about each other. Talk about your mother, your auntie, your uncle, you know, that one-legged cousin you got. I mean, we talked about everybody. So that was just part of my youth growing up. And that kind of went on into my persona as, you know, I got to prove to myself that I can get it done. And the only way I can do that is to add that pressure to myself. I mean, I don't care what you say. It's what I say that I got to try and back up. So even when we played a game against the Braves when I was on the Rockies my first year, the Braves had just been hammering the Rockies. They had won in 93, they'd won every game against the Rockies. So we're on the plane going to Atlanta, and I'm just going up and down the aisles. Yeah, the streak ends today, baby. This is it. It's over with today. And I went in there and pitched probably one of the best games I ever pitched against Tom Glavine, and ended up winning. And the reporters were interviewing me after the game, and they thought I was just going to be, yeah. And I sat there like it was like, you know, business as usual. You know, hey, you know, I've just been doing what I've been doing. You know, so, but it was one of the most gratifying wins that I ever had, because I put so much pressure on myself the day before, proving that it was going to end, and I didn't want to let my teammates down. And after that, those guys was like, maybe he ain't just talking crap. He got something to this. So sometimes it backfires. You know, sometimes the other team, they want to mix it up a little bit. Rick Sutcliffe threw at me 4 times, you know, for
in one game
stuff the day before. Oh yeah, I got that. You know, as a matter of fact, I'll post that on Twitter later on today.
Oh yeah, please do it.
We had took the first 3 games out of 4-game series, and back at Old Mile High Stadium, you had to walk down that left field line, and everybody had to go in that one exit area to get to the clubhouses. And so we were all walking in, the Cardinals, and I had Galarraga, Charlie Hayes, and I had a couple big guys standing with me. So I was like, I saw Sutcliffe, Gerald Perry, and we had all kind of like funneled into the exiting area together. And I was like, yeah, y'all getting swept tomorrow, right? And man, somebody grabbed me from the shoulder, and Galarraga like knocked the hand down. I was like, "Well, we getting personal." I said, "Wait till tomorrow. We gonna get this thing going, right?" And so Gerald Perry hit a home run off me in the first inning, and I could just hear the Cardinals just like, "Yeah, what do you got to say now?" Blah blah blah. And then I was on third with the bases loaded, and Dante Bichette hit a grand slam. And I'm like walking down from the third base line screaming at Sutcliffe, yeah, that's 4 right there. That's all I need. Back then I wish they had, I'm glad they didn't mic us because there was some stuff said in the dugout that you couldn't play on regular TV.
That's right.
But we're going back and forth. And then I saw Gerald Perry go in the dugout in between innings and tell Sutcliffe, hey, he's got to go down.
Well, where'd you go?
Somebody just called me.
Oh, there you go.
So I cleared it.
That could be Sutcliffe telling you to knock it off.
It might be. He might be like, hey, I still remember that. So he's like, you got to go down. So he threw the first one at me. John McSherry was the umpire. And he threw the first one, and he had lost a lot of his fastball. So I skipped out of the way like it was tossed underhand. He threw the next one at me, skipped out of the way. And then I looked at McSherry. I said, hey, he's throwing at me, right? And he's going, nah, get back in the box. What are he throwing at you for, And so he threw the next one inside. Then he got a warning. And then he threw the next one and he hit me. I mean, 4 in a row, real obvious. Wow. And then he hit me, right? And when it hits me, I start laughing. And then I start thinking to myself, wait a minute, this is going to be on SportsCenter. So I pointed the bat at him, and I was like, you ain't got nothing, man. And then he pointed down to where we exited it off the field. He was like, I'll meet you out there. I'll meet you over there, right? So, yeah, I mean, and then you could hear the announcers, Marvin's just going to sell some wolf tickets and all of that. And I was like, hey, man, this is what it's all about. So it was so much fun. I mean, just amazing. Being able to try and get in guys' heads. And it was all a game for me, yo. I enjoyed every minute of it. But here's one more story that I have, too. It was by my first major league hit, and I got this bat right here. It's a Milt Thompson bat. Mm-hmm. Milt Thompson, I played with in Philly. I got my first hit against Jamie Moyer in Chicago, and the game before that.
Jamie Moyer's so old. Gosh, it's crazy.
He was like a 15-year veteran that year.
Oh man.
The game before that, man. I was batting and I broke 4 bats in one at bat, one plate appearance. So I broke the first. That was against the Mets. I broke the first bat, hit a sinker off the end of the bat. I go back to the dugout. They only gave us 2 bats. Mm-hmm. I get my second bat. I come up there. Doug Sis runs a ball in on my hands. I swing, foul it off. I break that bat. I look at it. I'm like, oh man. So I go back. Everybody on the team was grabbing their bats out of the bat racks, right? Don't get mine, man. Don't use mine. And so I grabbed one of Mike Smith's bats. His bat was, I think he probably had a 50-ounce bat. I mean, I couldn't get that thing around to save my life. I break that one.
Oh, my God.
Come on.
Now they give me the bat. I think this bat was the one that everybody used in BP. They were taking
Pro model.
the tape off of it. Yeah, it just had Pro on it. They were taking the tape off. So, give him that one. And then I ended up grounding out. But it was like one of the funniest things that I ever did. But this hit I got against Jamie Moyer in Chicago, again, that was another video. If you pan down my Instagram, you'll see that I got my first major league hit, and you can hear one person in the audience cheering. It was in Chicago, and that was my wife. She's screaming because she was like, he got a hit? What?
Because she knew better.
And then when I hit my first major league home run in L.A., she was buying a Dodger dog, and she comes back to her seat, and some of the fans was like, your husband just hit a home run. So
I hope that was a good hot dog.
It must have been because she's getting her feel. She's seen the video so many times. I think I broke Barry Bonds' record with 780 home run showings. But it's been. I'm at that point now. The old men they get so much better when we get out of the game.
I know.
The longer we've been out of the game, the better we get. Mm-hmm. I'm Hall of Fame Freeman right now, baby.
Well, it's such a good follow, man. It's so much fun to watch. I want to ask you a question. So you talk about some of that talking that you did, whether it was on the field or even off the field with the Cardinals. The game is different, but yet we still see some of it, right? So we have bat flips now, probably more than ever. I'd be curious, if you ever saw it in your career or how you reacted to them. And then what do you think about pitchers? Like, they don't have a lot of revenge, right? We can't bat flip. We see a lot of fist pumps, maybe some stares. It's not new, but they act like some of it's new. But I'm curious for you, what you think about bat flips now and maybe what you saw then.
Well, if you hit a walk-off homer to beat me and your teammates are running on the field, bat flip, run around, do a flip around the bases if you want to. I don't care. Hey, it's my bad. I gave it up. Mm-hmm. But if you hit a home run in the second inning and you bat flipping and you running around blowing kisses in the stands and, you're staring me down as you step on each base and you're stomping on the base hard and you made it personal now. Mm-hmm. Now somebody's got to pay the price because my mother's watching. I can't have you out here disrespecting me with my mother watching.
That's right.
So, and we didn't wait until your turn came around. We got the next guy so he could tell you in the dugout, hey, man, look, you doing all that crazy stuff. They coming after me. Tone it down a little bit. That was the way the game kind of policed itself. Now, in this day and age with social media, guys on the bench with their cell phones, everybody wants to be famous. Everybody's got their own network now. And, everybody can be in control of their own narrative. So guys are getting selfies as soon as they come off the field. They're sitting in the dugout. They're doing their little dances. Okay, I understand. But it's still a profession. And you still have to carry yourself as a professional. I mean, the guy on the field, he's feeling bad enough for giving up the home run. Now, he can go in the shower and cry if it's at the end of the game. But if it's the second or third inning, you got to stay out there. So it kind of steams up. And then now, if you throw a ball inside, you get warned, so the game has been kind of softened up a little bit. I just saw a video of Lonnie Smith steamrolling Brian Harper in the World Series, and they changed that rule. Now you can't you can't break up a double play. So they're protecting the players. That's all good. But it's taken some of the excitement out that we had in the game that back in the day is just, when you look at it now, you're like, man, I can't believe, like when Albert Bell ran over Vigna in the middle of the baseline.
Willie Randolph at second base. Remember that one?
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, put him in left field.
Yeah, he barrel rolled the guy. I mean,
after the back.
That was considered normal and stuff. Now it's like, oh, this guy is a cheap shot, and everybody was doing it then. And I understand how it could cost guys their career and all of that now. But who thought about that back then? And guys still ended up okay. So that's the thing that I see now. Everybody is wanting to be responsible for their own narrative and entertaining and all of that, but then they don't look at the other side of it. Some guys may be a little bit sensitive. Some guys may not handle it the right way, but I think they pick the ones that they can backflip on because there's a lot of guys that's still out there that will still flip your cap, and that's something that guys got to find out for themselves.
Marvin, we appreciate your time. You keep being loud. You keep being you. We love everything that you're doing. We appreciate you sharing your stuff with us today.
Absolutely, man. My kids love it, and I'm just doing it for them because I know that they don't know who this old guy was back in the day, but they going to learn.
And it lives forever. It lives forever on social media. Free, you're awesome, man. Thank you so much for doing this.
No problem, man. You guys have a good one, and thanks for having me.
Starvin' Marvin Freeman. Thanks for
marvelous. Marvelous Marvin now.
Marvelous.
I'm like 250. I'm like 250 now. I'm trying to get it back down, baby.
You're the best.